to the Ultraflex Football podcast, where we have fun with our friends while we talk about football. I'm your host, Anthony Sutton. With me are my friends, Rob Green.
What's up?
And my other friend, Ryan Wheeler.
Howdy, y'all.
We're changing it up a little bit. We are moving Ryan's segment to later in the show. We're going to start off with Rob's segment today. So we are going to go into trivia.
All right, some trivia time. You guys got your paper?
I guess I got demoted.
Well, we could probably alternate it each episode, right? Change it up.
That's fine.
Who goes first?
I can share. That's fine.
I have my paper ready. Let's rock.
Perfect. I got 2 more questions for you guys tonight.
I have a 1-0 lead, by the way. We're keeping track.
And Correct. If you're at home, you can let us know how up you are on us also. If you're getting these questions right and we're not, let us know.
Question 1. Which country has the most lakes in the world? A, Canada. B, China. C, Russia. Or D, the United States?
I forgot this was multiple choice. And I thought that was just an open-ended question, and I'm like, dude, I have no idea.
No, all of these questions will be. I'll give you four options, multiple choice each time.
Okay. Well,
I got mine ready.
What was A?
Run through them again. Yeah, so it's Canada, China, Russia, United States.
The most lakes.
While Ryan puts his
I'm going to try
down.
to put my answers in alphabetical order each time, so there's no pattern there for you guys to try to catch up to. It's just going to always be alphabetical.
All right.
Hey,
got my answer. What?
Canada.
All right. What do you got, Ryan?
A, Canada.
That is correct. You both get it right.
Dude, we're geniuses.
Actually,
here's a cool stat on it, though, because it's pretty wild. Of the approximately 1.4 million lakes in the world, what percentage do you guys think are in Canada?
I would say maybe like 45% would be up there.
20%.
Over 60% reside in Canada.
Wow.
Over 65%? That's crazy.
That's actually pretty good.
It's just under 880,000. The next highest was Russia with 201,200. The U.S. was 102,500, and China 23,800. Those were the top 4.
So just going off landmass, I was thinking maybe Russia would have the most because it's got, it's by far the biggest country. And then I was, I realized
you're losing it a little bit.
They're probably all frozen. Well, so I have a hard time going from the Canadian accent to I naturally sometimes want to talk like a leprechaun. So I have to fight off the leprechaun and keep the Canadian accent. So
the leprechaun inside is coming out.
Dude, it does. And that actually fits into a later question that we have.
All right, well, we'll move on to question 2. See if you guys can be perfect today. The unicorn is the national animal of which country? A, Finland. B, Indonesia. C, Scotland. Or D, Thailand? Thought it was interesting that the unicorn is the national animal of a country.
That means they've seen one, right? They had to have seen one. There's definitely Finland's in.
B, Indonesia.
Yeah, Indonesia. Ryan, what do you got?
I forgot. What was A again? Yeah, dude, there's definitely leprechauns.
You still got leprechauns on the mind. Jeez.
There's definitely leprechauns in Finland.
Well, it's going to be a tie tonight because you're both wrong. The correct answer is C, Scotland.
Oh, I bloody knew it. Damn it.
I would have never guessed that.
Yeah, I don't have any cool fun facts on why it is or why it's not, but I will throw out there the national animal of Finland was the brown bear. Indonesia is the Komodo dragon, and Thailand is the elephant. So,
what did you go with, Tony?
Indonesia.
Dude, you didn't know
this is
that
cool
they had
too, though. The
Komodo
Komodo dragon. Yeah, that's
that's
cool
pretty cool.
Come on.
Ryan, 5 minutes before we started, you were like, I got to play the music. I got to play the music. And then you forgot to play the music before the segment.
Oh my gosh. Guys, I literally said before we start the segment, I need you to remind me.
All right, Ryan, close my segment out with my music today.
I'm closing
Next
you
time
out.
we'll start it with it.
Dude,
That was
I'm
trivia time
over-
for today.
I'm 0 for 2. Like for your segment, I forgot yours. I forgot all of ours last time.
All right, we don't have music for rank 3, so we'll just jump right into it. This time we are ranking vacation spots. So it could be things that we want to go to or we've already been. I am choosing to rank places I've already been. So for me, number 3 is, and we actually have been there together, Nashville, Tennessee. The whole Broadway, the whole vibe there, the music, the nightlife is a lot of fun. So for me, Nashville was an easy pick.
Who plays in Nashville? There's like an NFL team I think that plays there. They're
The Predators play
probably
there.
one of the worst teams in the league right now.
That's not fair. They had to play the Giants and the Bills. They're both undefeated, guys.
Some juggernauts. Well,
Yeah.
maybe one.
Yeah, the Bills just
Yeah,
absolutely.
Nashville's a good choice, though. I like that.
Nashville's
We've been there
great.
together. It's a good time. We were there for the draft.
And my bachelor party, and who else's bachelor party? I feel like there was another one. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just combining multiple thoughts in my head. Okay, Rob, go ahead.
So for my 3, I went with somewhere I haven't been, but I've heard good things about. I went with San Diego, California. Really just the West Coast. I've never been out that far west or too far west at all, but I'd really like to see the West Coast over there.
Yeah, when I made my list, California, I didn't have like a specific location. I was just going to say California because I've never been to the West Coast either. I was going to put it on there, but I snuck something else in there instead.
Isn't it always sunny there?
It's supposed to be,
It's like
and in
The
Philadelphia,
place that
right?
has the most sun or something.
Shout out,
Okay.
Ryan, shout out to your wife that just went to Hawaii to visit her family without you.
Yeah, dude, she must have had a great time without me because apparently I'm not fun enough to bring to really exotic locations, or our daughter, like whatever. I stayed home with her. Anyway, my number 3 is also Nashville. I was going to put it at number 1, but my list is pretty fluid. So because you listed Nashville, I'm also going to list Nashville as my number 3. It is probably my favorite place to be that I've been. The live music, just like you said, the atmosphere, the energy there, it's pretty exciting, and it's always a good time. I've been there a lot growing up and into the adult years. It's a great time.
My number 2 is probably going to be words that have never been spoken before. So before I say that, I will say that I had some honorable mentions, like the typical vacation spots, whether it's Myrtle Beach or Orlando. I've been to there. I live in North Carolina, so I'm 2 hours from Wilmington, or Charleston's not far. But number 2 for me, which has probably never been said, is Buffalo, New York.
Let's go.
All right.
Because for me, a vacation to Buffalo means I get to see you guys, my friends. We get to see our family. Get to go to a Bills game.
Anthony gets bonus points today.
Yep.
Yeah. So for me, number 2 is Buffalo, New York.
Love it.
We get to, dude, Rob, we live in his number 2 destination. Like
How awesome is that?
vacation
Well, just-
destination. Wow.
It's kind of insulting that it's not number 1. So
Yeah.
you could
No,
you could
I
also
think-
think about it that way.
Buffalo's not that great. Like, I don't think it'd be number 1. But and to be honest, Raleigh didn't make my list at all. So, and that's where you live, right around there, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
not because
Well, I mean,
I don't want to see you, it's just it didn't make the list.
there's not much going on other than a billion people moving here. It's not a destination for
It's not a vacation
beaches.
spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good place to live, but not a good place to vacation for a week.
Just got voted the second best place in the country to live.
What was number 1?
Buffalo.
You know?
Salt Lake
Yeah,
City.
definitely Buffalo. Salt Lake City. All right.
Utah.
So for my number 2, I went with Hawaii.
Oh, I'll have to ask my wife how that place
Yeah.
is.
That's my plan. I'm gonna talk to her. We'll plan
Yeah.
a trip. See how it goes. Maybe
Yeah.
you can come this time.
Oh, really? That'd be fantastic. Wow. Gosh. You know what's funny is like I went on vacation for 2 weeks, a week after she got back. So like she goes to Hawaii, I have to work for another week, and then I'm off for 2 weeks.
Where'd you go, Ryan?
I didn't go anywhere, guys. You know what I did? I sat at home and I worked on like the podcast stuff, like getting the logo and stuff for this podcast.
You were grinding.
A staycation is underrated, though.
Oh, it is. A staycation is fantastic.
That is a good underrated vacation.
My number 2 is I've always wanted to go see Ireland. I've seen pictures and it just looks like such a beautiful place. And I've got red in my beard, so I know I belong there. At least part of me does.
You want to let the leprechaun out?
The leprechaun needs to live and be free.
Okay.
Yeah, in Ireland. So, and yeah, like Celtic music. Like that stuff. You guys ever heard Celtic music? Okay, you guys both shut down when I ask that. So.
Yeah.
I find that stuff fascinating. I love listening to that. It's very relaxing. Awesome. I'd love to go visit Ireland.
Number 1 for me isn't necessarily a spot or a location, but it's just anywhere that a cruise ship will take me. I've been on one cruise, and it was the only time in my life where I didn't have cell service and I wasn't able to check my work emails or anything like that. So, and then obviously if you're on a cruise ship, we went to the Dominican Republic, we went to Puerto Rico. So like very tropical areas. So anywhere where I can eat all the food I want, drink as much as I want, and just lay out in the sun and not answer anything that has to do with work is number 1 for me.
Sounds fabulous. I've never been on a cruise myself, but
I have not either.
It's amazing.
Rob, you and I can go on a cruise and we can leave Anthony behind, or leave our wives behind, and we'll go hang out. Or you know what, Anthony? Let's make it a threesome. All 3 of us can go on a cruise and leave our wives behind.
We'll do a show from the cruise. Although I guess we can't do that, huh? Because
we could record it.
We could record it and then post it later.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have internet.
Oh,
you can buy internet. Yeah, you can buy internet.
Oh, so the food, the alcohol, and all that stuff is free, but to get internet, you're like, that's going to cost you.
It's not free. Yeah. You spend a lot of money for the all-inclusive, but you got to just get your money's worth.
Surprising that the internet isn't included in like an all-inclusive vacations.
People got to make money.
Yeah, that's a premium service.
Apparently.
I'm paying $1,500 for a cruise, but I'm throwing down 30 drinks and eating 10 plates of food. Then I'm going to get my money.
You got your money back, yeah. Well, you didn't get your money back, but you got your money's worth.
You drinking coffee and tea, you're not going to get your money back.
Bro, I will drink so much coffee and so much tea that they're going to run out. And then I got my money's worth. And I can also put down some food. So.
All right, Rob, what you got for 2? Or sorry, 1.
For my number 1, I went with a place I went a couple times as a kid and a place I'd love to go again and bring my daughter, and that's Disney World. So I'm kind of saving up now because I know how expensive it is. And maybe it's not like the number 1 place I'd want to go if I wasn't bringing my daughter, but I would just love to see her face and see how much fun she has because she loves all those Disney characters. So I think she'd have a great time. So that's on the list of places to go soon. And my number 1 here.
I've heard it's pretty cool. I'm sure it is.
You haven't been there yet either?
I'll have to ask my wife.
How many times has your wife gone?
So many. It's disgusting. She's obsessed, though. She has a problem. Really, guys. Like, Disney, it's a problem.
Are we talking like 10 times?
No. It's been closer to like probably 4.
Okay, that's not that bad.
It feels like a lot, though. I don't know. To me.
Like 4 since you've been married, or 4 in her life?
No. I think twice since we've been married.
No, that doesn't seem that bad.
Oh.
Yeah. I've only been once, but I mean, 4 is not that many.
Yeah, there's people who probably have like they do season pass. They have to have some kind of season pass, right? I don't know. Maybe not.
I mean, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe. My number one is my future home, and it's South Dakota. And the reason I say that is because I've watched too much Yellowstone, I think, and seeing how that like all that land out there, and Rob and I were doing some research on like places to live in the future, and I said I wanted to live in Wyoming, and I could have the Yellowstone of Wyoming, not the national park, but the show. And Rob did some research and found that South Dakota actually is of those like Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, Oregon, places like that. South Dakota is like in terms of cost of living and quality of life, stuff like that. Housing costs. South Dakota was up there. It was one of the best. So South Dakota, baby, here I come.
All right. I like it. Now let's jump into week 2 takeaways. We are all the way coming up on the 3rd week of NFL football. We record these Wednesday nights, so week 3 starts tomorrow, which is hard to believe. Feels like we were just having the first kickoff there. A couple takeaways for me or I guess are the Dolphins good?
We're gonna find out this week, right?
No, that's not fair. You can't compare if they go play Buffalo to see if they're good or not, because Buffalo makes good teams look really bad.
Buffalo's also going to be missing quite a few pieces on defense.
You know what, Rob? You know what makes me mad about you saying that is that you said that same thing right before the Buffalo Bills played the Titans. You were like, I don't know, man. There's a lot of both teams are missing key players, and I was like, dude, if you go through the roster, I would take 3 Tennessee Titans over Buffalo Bills on the 24-man roster.
I think you could say the same thing about the Dolphins, though. I think the Dolphins and the Titans aren't even on the same. Like, you can say the Bills and the Titans aren't on the same, but I think the Dolphins and the Titans aren't on the same tier either.
Wait, I'm confused. As in the Dolphins have a way better...
How do you feel about that, Ryan? I think you're saying the Dolphins are way better than the Titans.
Ooh. I mean, yeah, actually, I think that's probably accurate, dude. The Titans are bad this year. They're like...
Yeah, it's a different team than they were last year.
Oh, yeah.
I said that because players missing for the Bills against the Titans, as you saw or as we saw, probably didn't really affect the game too much. But those same players missing against the Dolphins could have an impact, especially if it's half our secondary when you're trying to cover Waddle and Hill.
Because of those speed receivers. That's something the Titans just don't really have. I mean, I don't think any team has the Waddle Hill speed.
No. No, they don't. I think Miami is good. I just don't think that they're there yet. Like, they might be a playoff team, but they're going to be like fringe playoff team, I think.
Their defense hasn't been good these first 2 weeks. Now they got to play the Bills, so it might take a really high scoring game like they just had against the Ravens for them to beat the Bills.
They did hold the Patriots to 7 points?
Yeah.
But that was week 1, and that was, I mean, Matt Patricia led offense, so
I think the Bills will be able to get pressure with 4, and then they're just going to sit back and make Tua dink and dunk. And could Hill and Waddle run away from the defense? Possibly. I mean, they're like the fastest guys in the league, but I don't think you're going to see Tua hitting 50-yard bombs like they were against the Ravens. So we'll see what happens there.
Definitely got to keep an eye on if Micah Hyde plays.
If the Dolphins are hitting 50-yard bombs, Josh Allen's just going to return the favor. So it's not like that game's going to get out of hand.
I hope so. My next takeaway is the Saints and the Bucks. I guess 2 takeaways. Yeah, let me try that again. 2 takeaways.
Ooh,
got there.
Is that the best rivalry in the NFL right now? Is one, and then the other one is, do the Bucks have the best defense in the league?
I think the Bucks or the Bills at this point.
I was just going to say, I think the Bills might have the best defense, but I mean, who have the Bucks played? The Saints and the Cowboys?
Yeah, I think they've allowed a combined 13 or total 13 points. So they're averaging 6.5 points a game.
Yeah.
The Bills have allowed 17.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
And they played
might.
the defending Super Bowl champs and the defending 1 seed in the AFC.
Yeah, it's not that defending 1 seed was not that team
The
anymore.
Bucs defense has been impressive to start the year.
They have been. I don't know about the rivalry. I like to think that the Titans Bills has become a pretty good rivalry, but I think the Bills just kind of erased it last game. They were like, these games have always been close. They usually are close. The Titans have that series. Like, I don't know. I think they played 51 times. I think the Titans have won 30 of them. So
I think we feel that because of who our favorite teams are. I don't think nationally people would even consider the Bills and the Titans to be a rivalry.
really, they played 51
Yeah,
times. That's
I don't
history.
think.
There's a lot of.
I don't think
No?
that's one that, if anything, right now people would say Bills and Chiefs.
Music City Miracle. Yeah, I mean, I understand the Bills Chiefs thing. That's a good rivalry. To me, that might be the best rivalry in the league.
For some reason, I don't know why, because it's probably been a while since it was really the big rivalry, but Steelers Ravens still comes to mind for me as just like a big rivalry.
Yeah.
At this
I feel
point,
like
it's not
I feel
really
like those
that.
fan bases
sexy,
hate each
but-
other the
Yeah.
most.
Yeah.
Another takeaway for me was not just us, everyone assumed the AFC was going to be absolutely stacked. Are the Broncos, the Bengals, and the Raiders even good?
They're better
Well,
than the
two of those teams are 0-2, right? And no 0-2 teams made the playoffs last year, I believe.
Yeah.
The Bengals' offensive line is like, as someone that was so high on Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, and I mean Jamar Chase still has put up stats, but it's just frustrating to watch. Not as a Bills fan because I don't want to play them in the playoffs, but as a fantasy owner, it's like, dang, that's frustrating.
I think it's just, at this point, it seems like regardless of the offensive line, Burrow takes a lot of sacks. Might just be who he is as a quarterback, as a guy who's going to hang in there and try to find the open guy as long as he can, and he's going to take some sacks. He's going to take some hits.
Yeah.
I was going to lead to some ugly weeks.
I listened to the Draft Dudes podcast, and they have Joe Marino and Kyle Krabs. They're I think they're like founders of the Draft Network or something like that. But they basically scout college and NFL players, and they said, Joe Marino showed that Burrow is responsible for those sacks mostly. It's not the offensive line playing that bad. He said that the tackles have been letting up a lot of pressure, but Joe Burrow is the reason he's getting sacked so many times. So you can't blame it on that offensive line. I think the Bengals are a good team. He just needs to get back into form. The Super Bowl hangover is for the Super Bowl loser too. So I think that the Bengals are a good team. They're just not playing well right now.
Especially a team who kind of got good fast and out of nowhere.
Right.
They have to kind of get back into that groove that they had found that previously they weren't used to having. So
yeah, and the Raiders and Broncos, I mean, Russ he hasn't looked great. The coaching has been bad.
Daniel Hackett is
some
just,
rough play calling on offense.
Holy moly. Did you guys see the sequence when they were going to go for it on 4th down, and then they call a timeout, and then they were going to kick a field goal, and then coming out of the timeout, they got a delay game, and then they decided to punt.
And then they punt. Yeah, that's brutal. Ugh.
And they didn't kick the field goal at 58 yards when last week he kicked it at 64 yards.
Dude.
It's like, holy moly.
Is he in over his head?
He needs to give those decisions up to somebody else.
I mean, that's the head coach's decision, though.
I get that, but he needs to get like an analytics guy to sit up in the booth and just give him orders. Like, you need to call a timeout right now.
They should hire Peyton Manning to do it.
I know Peyton's
just timeout. Yeah. They had a tracker like counting how many times he called timeout. It was like 60 or something with his hands.
Yeah. Peyton, he does everything. Another takeaway for me was it happened the same night, happened on Monday night. Eagles are good, very good, and there should be 2 Monday night games every week because it's so hard to go back and forth between 1 o'clock games on a Sunday. Why not just have 2 Monday night games every week?
I wonder if you're in the minority thinking that, because I've heard a lot of people complaining that they couldn't watch both games at the same time.
Yeah, I can't really speak on this one because I was at the Bills game, so I didn't get a chance to watch any of the Eagles game. Did they have they're both on ESPN, right?
ESPN and ABC, which is...
I feel like they should have a channel where they just have both playing at the same time, like split screen. So you could just watch both. I don't know if they did that or not because I didn't get to watch, but
they did it at like when a big play would happen or like the kickoff or whatever, they would do it. But yeah, I agree. Like if instead of having the Manning cast on ESPN2 or do the Manning cast and then still do that, but have 2 screens. But Ryan, to your point, I mean, what's the difference between having 2 Monday night games versus 1 p.m. games on Sunday?
Bro, I said that you'd probably be in the minority thinking that. I mean, I agree. I can't watch all the games anyways. So
I watched the Red Zone.
It was weird how they staggered them. Like the Eagles game, the Eagles Vikings started like what, an hour after the Bills.
Yeah, the Bills kickoff was I think 7:15.
Yeah, and then the next game started at like 8:10 or 8:15, something like that. It was just weird.
One more takeaway I have, and I have to throw it in there. We're only 2 weeks in. A lot could change, but the Jaguars are the best team in the AFC South. And I don't even think
it's not a hot take anymore.
And I don't even think it's close to say that they have the best quarterback in the division.
Long term, I would say that they definitely have the best quarterback. God, I think they have the best quarterback in that division right now. That's a hard pill to swallow.
Weakest division in football.
Yeah, it's a hard pill to swallow because I've been on your guys' butt for saying that they were going to make the playoffs this year, and they're not going to make the playoffs because they have a good record. That's my opinion. I don't think they're going to go 7 now. Like, I don't think they're going to do that. But I think they might get in the playoffs with a 7-10 or an 8-9 record, which is just disgusting. So sure, they might be a playoff team this year, and they probably are the best team in the AFC South because the AFC South is absolute hot garbage.
They're probably going to get smoked this week. Playing the Chargers.
Oh, well, good. Put them back in their place, and then they can go 1-2.
They'd be 1-2.
Yeah. There's a lot that could happen in the next coming week. They could go 0-3 in the next 3 weeks, and then they're 1-4, and then they're in trouble. But through the first 2 weeks, they have proven to be the best team. So I just had to bring
big
that
progress for them.
It is.
And then, real quick, my last takeaway. my last takeaway is that the Bills and the Chiefs are still, through 2 weeks, by far the best teams in the league.
And I think the Bills are like on a different chart. Like if the Bills are number 1, they're like number 1 through 10, and then it's like the Chiefs at 11, and then the rest of the teams. Like the Bills just look so freaking good, and I love putting you guys on the spot like this because when you say stuff like that, they have to then live up to the hype. You know, like
yeah. So that's what I was just gonna say. So what do you think is gonna happen? Say they go out there and they lose this week to Miami. Is it gonna be every national show how overrated the Bills are?
No, so it's going to happen. Everyone knows the Bills are fan-freaking-tastic. Like, that team is absolutely elite. If the Dolphins go, or actually, if the Bills go into Miami, and Miami wins that game, the hype is going to go up for the Dolphins.
Yeah, the story should be the Dolphins. But I'm not sure it will be. There might be more talk of the Bills being overrated than anything else.
Yeah, there'll be people that still say that Josh Allen isn't good, which is...
That's unbelievable.
If you listen to some of the ESPN radio guys that are just trying to get clickbait or whatever, they still say that Josh Allen needs to prove something, which is ridiculous at this point.
I mean, yeah, everyone has something they can improve, but holy moly, the dude he's got to be the odds-on favorite to win MVP this year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he still is.
Like, that means the most valuable player in the league. Like, that's not really disputable. He's been amazing. He's thrown
It's going to
2
be
picks, but one of them wasn't even his fault.
not just this year, because the Bills don't really have an excuse this year. They have the best roster, in my opinion, by far. But winning the AFC for the next decade and getting to the Super Bowl is going to be very challenging. Just like Allen, Mahomes, Lamar, Herbert, Burrow, Deshaun Watson. You can say whatever you want about him, but he'll be back eventually. So it's
Trevor Lawrence, don't leave him out.
exactly. But, I mean, that's if you include Lawrence, which I know you're being facetious, but in 2 or 3 more years, he's going to be very good. So that's 7 quarterbacks right there. When any one of them could win a playoff game. So, like, I mean,
Tannehill, but
yeah, he's speaking of hot garbage. You guys have any other takeaways?
Covered it pretty well this week for me.
Yeah, you did a good job, Tony.
All right, let's do my joke of the week.
I did it, guys. I remembered.
You remembered.
Which days are the strongest?
Whoa, that question is confusing. Which days are the strongest?
Saturday and Sunday. The other days are weekdays.
Oh my god.
Nice one. That's a good one.
I'll be here all week.
Hey, I got one to throw in there.
I didn't know that lasted that long. Sorry.
Throw it in.
All right. What do you call a man with a rubber toe?
What do you call a man with a rubber toe?
Roberto.
That one's good.
Oh,
It was so funny. I knocked the camera over.
The camera got knocked over. Nice.
All right, that's the joke segment. Let's jump into some fantasy stardom, sit-em. We'll be talking about a quarterback, running back, wide receiver that we each want to start and or sit. So I'll start us off with a quarterback. All the names I'm going to mention are people that you are always going to start in your standard league, even the sit-ems. What I wanted to do this week was look at, from a daily fantasy sports, who I would be willing to pay the money for, and then who I wouldn't be. So my stardom is Josh Allen, which, thanks, Captain Obvious, you're going to start Josh Allen. But as I talked about before, when we were talking about daily fantasy, is I usually look for the quarterback bargain. And Josh Allen this week in FanDuel was $9,000. He was the most expensive one by $300.
Wow.
But going up, he always plays well in Miami. Going up against that pass defense, this would be a rare occasion where I would get the most expensive quarterback and just watch Josh Allen ball out.
All right. Rob, is it okay if I go next for my start quarterback? All right. My start quarterback for this week is, if you're in a pinch, I say start Joe Flacco. He's had 104 pass attempts through the last 2 weeks. That's 52 passes per game. 300 yards. He's hit that both games. He's got Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson as his weapons. He's got the rookie Breece Hall. Who's the other running back that they have? I can't even think of his name.
Michael Carter.
Yeah, Michael Carter. He's been solid too. They play the Bengals, and the Bengals have. I mean, they didn't make Cooper Rush and Trubisky look great, but those 2 quarterbacks looked okay playing against them. And I think Flacco was probably better than both of them. So he's my start of the week at QB.
Interesting. There's a name low down the list that is probably on your waiver wire.
Yeah.
So my QB start of the week, just for regular standard leagues, I wasn't thinking DFS here. Kirk Cousins. He was bad on Monday Night Football. Like I said, I didn't get to watch the game, but it was all over Twitter. So 3 interceptions, had a rough game. They only scored 7 points, right? So
yeah,
he's the worst QB of all time on Monday Night Football, which I'm sure everybody has heard at this point because it's been all over social media. 2-10 as a starter on Monday Night Football now. But I think he's got a chance for a big bounce back game this week playing against Detroit, who has a not good defense, has been playing in shootouts each of the first 2 weeks. Their over-under this week is 52.5, which is the second highest on the board. And each of the 2 games that Detroit has played so far, at least 53 points has been scored. So expect points in bunches. Start Kirk Cousins with confidence.
I like it. I like it a lot. Tony, we doing sits for quarterbacks now?
Sure. My sit for quarterback, again, you're always going to start him, but I'm looking at daily fantasy. Would I spend the money on Aaron Rodgers this week? And the answer is no. He's going up against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, as we just talked about, has one of the best defenses in the league. That offense is very quickly turning into relying on the 2 running backs, Jones and Dillon. And then you can just tell he doesn't have a great rapport right now with the young receivers. They went out there on Sunday Night Football with Randall Cobb and Sammy Watkins and Alan Lazard. So for me, that's just not going to be able to work against the Tampa Bay Bucks. So start Aaron Rodgers in your normal league for daily fantasy football. I would not pay the money to expect him to go off.
All right. And my sit is Justin Fields. He has 28 pass attempts. Guys, 28 pass attempts through 2 weeks. That I said Flacco has 104.
Joe Flacco he threw like 59 in week 1.
Yeah. So Fields has what? I'm not a math guy. 8. So he's thrown a quarter the amount of Flacco. I mean, with a 8. 8 less, whatever. I know what I'm trying to say. It's just not coming out. The articulation is not there right now. Anyway, he's had 11 carries for week 1, which normally you're like, oh, good, he had 11 carries. That means that this rushing quarterback's going to go off, right? He had 28 yards. And I get the game was a swamp. It was. But week 2, he had 8 rushes for 20 yards. That offense just
not great.
Does not click right now. You can't start Justin Fields until he shows that he can actually do something and he gets someone else involved other than one of the running backs.
Good choice. My QB sit of the week, big name who's had a not very good start to the season. That's Tom Brady. So that offensive line has multiple injuries right now that they're dealing with. It's not been pretty in front of Tom there. He's already missing Chris Godwin to injury. Now Mike Evans is suspended for this game. That suspension was upheld today, so he's going to miss the game versus Green Bay. It's going to be a tough game. Green Bay has a solid defense, and Julio's banged up. He missed last week's game. Like they just signed Cole Beasley off the street after he didn't get any attention all off season. I don't know if they're expecting him to come in and produce right away, but I wouldn't count on it. So between the injuries, Brady not looking sharp himself, I mean, all the drama that was out there this offseason, I would sit him, especially if you have anybody that's even close to being start worthy. I would start Flacco over Brady this week.
Wow. Boom. I love that.
I didn't put them as my start. I didn't say to start them, but the running backs in that game, that Green Bay, Tampa, are going to get a lot of carries, in my opinion.
Yeah, that could be a game to look to the under if you're a betting man. I could see that being a low-scoring game.
I feel like I need to redeem myself. I was saying like Fields something about 8, and I couldn't articulate it, but I've been thinking this whole time, and I think I figured out how to do it. So Fields had 28 pass attempts the last 2 weeks. If you multiply that by 4, I believe you get 112. Something like that. So I'm pretty sure you get 112. Flacco had 104 through 2. So Flacco is 8 passes away from quadrupling Fields' total pass attempts. That's ridiculous.
He's basically throwing a quarter of the amount of passes as Flacco through 2 games.
God bless America, Rob. Yes, that's what I was trying to say.
That was a simple way to say it. I'm just helping you out.
But I wanted to throw numbers in there, like actual
quadruple statistics. Sounds cool, so I'll give you that.
My start at running back is Miles Sanders. For me, whether it's regular fantasy or DFS, I'm looking for running backs that will have the potential to score touchdowns and their offense moves the ball. I think we would all agree that the Eagles continue to move the ball up and down the field. Unfortunately, Jalen Hurts is going to steal some of those carries near the red zone. But if I'm playing DFS, I'm going to take a shot, and hopefully one or two of those get to go to Miles Sanders, and he gets a touchdown or two.
Yeah, so my start is also Miles Sanders. We were supposed to not have the same, and we ended up with the same. So he's averaging 15 rushes per game and a 10% target share. And if you give me a running back that's getting 15 touches pretty much guaranteed per game, I'm happy with that. I'll start him all day, pretty much, if he's a decent running back. Sanders is in an efficient offense, and last year he just didn't score touchdowns. It's not the case this year. He's going to score touchdowns. That's all, folks, for me.
All right. I'm going to the Bears for my start of the week at running back. How could I go to the Bears, right, Ryan? You think I'm crazy, but I'm saying David Montgomery. He ran well last week versus Green Bay. 15 carries, 122 yards. It's about all that's working well for the Bears right now is the running backs, because Khalil Herbert's run pretty well through 2 games as well. The Bears are favored in this game at home against the Texans by 3 points, I believe. I don't think they're going to be favorites too many times this year, so you probably won't get very many smash starts for Montgomery, which I think this is against the Texans. As Ryan said, that passing game is pretty much non-existent, so they're going to lean on the run, and they'll lean on Montgomery here.
Now, when the Bears do throw, I did see that they target their running backs at one of the highest rates in the league. So even though they don't throw much, Montgomery is going to get targets, and Khalil Herbert. So I think
I wonder how much of that is from the monsoon game, though.
Yeah. Might need a few more weeks to see if that sticks, but I mean, it does help back up my point for this week. If you're just going based on the data, he might get a few targets also.
Yeah. My sit-em is Jonathan Taylor.
Oh. Whoa.
Again, DFS. I'm trying to figure out if I would spend the money or not. He's $10,000 in FanDuel. They play Kansas City goes to Indy, but either way, Kansas City is going to be up early on them. And if you're Kansas City at that point, you might as well put 10 in the box and make Matt Ryan beat you. Shoot, you might as well just put all 11 in the box and leave people wide open, because the way Matt Ryan's looked, he won't be able to hit him anyway.
And Pittman probably won't even play.
Yeah, so I think that game's going to get ugly pretty quick. And I think last week, Jonathan Taylor only had like 9 carries, because it was kind of the same situation where Jacksonville got up early. And unfortunately, you can't run the ball as much when you're down by 24 points. So, regular league, obviously, you play Jonathan Taylor. Do not spend $10,000 on him this week in daily fantasy.
All right. My sit is going to be Zeke. He just straight up looks like Ezekiel Elliott, to be clear. He just straight up looks like he's getting outplayed by Pollard. He has a lower target share. And guess how many receiving yards he has through 2 games? Rob, you probably know. Tony? You guys know how many receiving yards he has between?
Does he even have a catch yet?
Yeah, I think he has 2 catches.
Okay.
12.
I know he had like 7 points each of the first 2 weeks, so it's not much. Maybe I was just like maybe 15.
What if I said that we have more rushing or receiving yards than he does?
So negative.
-7.
Yeah, wow.
-7 receiving yards so far. He has not looked good, and without Dak, and CD hasn't looked good either, which is weird. And Dalton Schultz is out for this week. Yep.
Yeah.
So
CD actually had a better game last week with Cooper Rush than he did with Prescott.
Yeah, he did, but I'm still avoiding Zeke. And I probably would play Pollard, actually. He looks good.
I have to think about that one in the leagues I have him. I don't know.
Rob, you should listen to me. I'm a fantasy guru. I'm like 0-2 in all of my leagues this year so far. I
Good
give
start.
straight fire advice, man.
My sit of the week, whether he plays or not, is James Conner of the Arizona Cardinals. Injured his ankle last week. They said he's day to day. I believe he practiced today, so it's looking like he's going to go. Even if he plays, they got a tough divisional matchup against the Rams. Being banged up, I have no interest in playing him. Really, even when he's healthy, he hasn't been great this year. He has 17 carries for 51 yards in 2 games so far.
That's
so good. He's basically been Zeke, but worse.
Yeah.
Just not interested in playing him, even if he suits up. I think you can find better options.
Like his backup?
Potentially. I mean, he might end up playing more. He scored like 14 points last week, right? Yeah.
I think he had more than that, actually.
We're doing starting receiver now, right? My starting receiver is going to be Rashad Bateman. I think Belichick is going to try his hardest to make Lamar beat him with his arm and try to have his defensive ends kind of contain as much as they can. Obviously, Lamar's a freak athlete, so he's going to still get some rushing yards in there. But I think this is a big week where Lamar proves that he is a good quarterback as far as throwing the ball. He takes advantage of Belichick trying to contain him, and Bateman has a good week.
I like it. My start this week is Curtis Samuel. He's averaging 10 targets per game. He's getting rushes. He's had 8 catches he had 8 catches in week 1, 7 catches in week 2. Wentz doesn't look terrible. He's getting him the ball.
He's been good. Yeah.
He's doubling Dotson's targets, who's getting all of the production on touchdowns. So if Dotson wasn't so dang efficient with his touchdowns, some of those could have gone to Curtis Samuel. But and he's got 8 more targets than Terry McLaurin. Curtis Samuel, that is. So far, Scary Terry's had 12 total targets, and Curtis Samuel's had 20. Rob, you're looking at me like you need to.
Did you just say that Samuel has double the targets of Dotson?
Dotson has 10 targets.
Okay.
I
thought it was higher than that. Yeah, I think that might have been just week 1. I'm pretty sure he had like 7 catches week 1.
Who did?
Dotson.
No, hold on a second, folks. So we got live. We don't have a producer, so we got to vet this stuff. Like, let's see. Dotson had week 1.
He did. Yeah, he did. You're right. He had 5 targets. Yeah.
And 5 targets, 4 receptions week 2. So that's a total of 10 targets.
That's very efficient through 2 weeks there. Three touchdowns on 10 targets is pretty unsustainable.
Dude,
he's a red zone beast.
He's got 3 touchdowns on 7 receptions. That's insane. I know you just said 10 targets. I'm just like even making that look even better on 7 receptions.
It also makes me think he's playing 88% of the snaps week 1, 99% week 2. Do you have Samuel's snap count?
Yeah. See, Oh, I spelled Samuel wrong.
It's probably pretty similar because I think they play 3 wide a lot.
Let's see. Curtis has 71 and 89.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Dotson's going to start eating into that Samuel workload, but I do think right now he has a great start.
Yeah, he might eat into the workload,
especially for what you paid for him.
Yeah, he's getting the targets, and folks, I do believe one wise person on this podcast did suggest that people should go pick up Curtis Samuel at the beginning of the year before the season started, because I believe they said he was bust-proof. Who was that? Oh, that was me. Oh my gosh! And I also said Corey Davis was bust-proof. Corey Davis and Curtis Samuel. Good calls, Ryan.
You said Jacoby Myers.
I did say Jacoby Myers too. Oh my gosh, dude! I'm a fan.
Honestly, I don't even know if he's been good so far this year. I have no interest in Patriots players.
I don't think he's been bad. I don't think he's been amazing.
just real quick, Jacoby Myers is the number 23 wide receiver in the league so far. So he's
doing his usual catch a few balls a game.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. Yep. So
all right, let's move on.
Fine. Whatever.
My start of the week is Christian Kirk. 18 targets through 2 games for our Anthony's Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yep.
He's getting the opportunity you want to see out of a number 1 wide receiver, and he's delivering results. He had 18 fantasy points week 1, 26 in week 2. And this week they play the Jaguars, as we brought up, they play the Chargers this week, as we brought up earlier, and they're 7-point underdogs, so they're going to need to pass to keep up.
All right, my sit at receiver, I'm going to go quick because we still got to pick games. Again, this is DFS. I'm not playing Kyle Pitts until he gets more targets. So I'm not paying the money until Arthur Smith learns how to coach.
Solid point there, yeah. Target your best players. It's not hard. You're 0-2.
All right, and my sit is going to be Mooney and Kmet. Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet for the Bears. I know I said that you should sit Fields, so this just is correlated with that. 18% target share for Mooney, which is hilarious because that's 5 targets so far this year, and 7% target share for Kmet, which is a total of 2 targets.
How many points does Kmet have, Ryan?
Oh, dude, he is
How many
just
catches?
absolutely goosing this year.
How you feeling about him?
I feel, honestly, I'm going to get real with you guys. I feel so disappointed. I am so disappointed. I know you were very high on him. I was so excited for Cole Kmet and what he could do this year.
I think you said in our group chat the other day
take out, didn't you?
What?
The Kmet hot take? Did that one hit the air live? I don't remember.
Did I? I don't remember a hot take with Kmet about him being better, finishing higher than
outscoring Travis Kelce. I thought that might have been one.
Yeah.
You said the other day in our group chat that he's not a bad player. And I think at this point, he is a bad player.
No, he's not a bad player. You put him on the Chiefs offense, get rid of Kelce. You put him on the Bills offense. You put him on an offense that throws the ball more than 17 times in 2 games.
I was specifically watching him Sunday night against the Packers because I was like, all right, let me see what this dude's got. He was never open.
Okay, the Packers are a good defense. The Bears, you literally have to key on who? Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet. Other than that, you don't have to worry about Fields. He's not going to throw the ball.
Burst your bubble. I don't think anyone's worried about Cole Kmet. I just really don't. I don't think they're keen on him.
They should be. He's 23 years old. You guys just sit and wait.
He's never scored a touchdown ever in his career.
Oh my gosh!
All right,
I'm feeling the Kmet hate. That's fine.
Yeah, I'll give you my last sit. Those are good sits, though, Ryan. I love those ones.
Yeah. I said to sit Kmet.
All right. Let's take it a step further. You can cut Cole Kmet.
I was going to say, don't
hold on to
him
anymore.
Cut his ass.
Just cut him.
But
oh man,
maybe hold on in a very deep dynasty league.
I'll give you a deep dynasty league.
My sit of the week is Jerry Jeudy, another guy who got banged up last week. He's day to day with a chest injury, but it looks like he's going to play. So I'm sitting. I just don't want to. With the way Russell Wilson's looked, him being banged up, him being Jeudy, and the offense just starting out slow in Denver, I'd leave him on the bench.
All right. Ryan's segment.
Did you know that children of identical twins are genetically siblings and not cousins? So if two identical twins each have babies, their kids should be cousins, but technically they share 25% of their DNA, which makes them half siblings. Because a cousin has 12.5% of the same DNA as their other cousin.
Because they categorize it by like the percent that they're equal, right? Yeah.
Right. So
I've heard this before, actually. It is still wild, though.
Yeah, that blew my mind when I first saw that. I had a hard time fathoming it.
We move on to pick the games of the week.
Gonna pick some games. We open
Last
it up
week,
here.
a recap while Rob pulls that up. I got 11 games right. Rob got 10 games right. Brian got 8 games right. And Twitter got 6 games right.
Yeah,
So
it was a tough week for our Twitter followers. You guys got to step your games up.
Thank you for making
again, you can find us on Twitter at Ultraflex FP. If you would like to take or participate in picking the games for the season, that means Rob has 19 games correct. I have 17, and Ryan and Twitter both have 13. So, Rob, take it away and let's pick these games.
Yeah, let's start it off in Cleveland for Thursday Night Football. Pittsburgh at Cleveland. Cleveland is a 4.5-point favorite. So these were all updated this afternoon. So
it hurts me to
Wednesday,
say
the
because I'm a UNC fan, but Money Mitch has got to get out. He's not doing anything for that offense. Time for Pickett. So until that happens, I think Pittsburgh is not very good. So I'm going to go Cleveland.
I am going to go with Pittsburgh this week with the points.
I am also.
You don't get points too many times with Mike Tomlin, so I'll take the 4.5, especially against a Jacoby Brissett led team.
Yeah,
no brainer to me. Pitt all day. Next up, we got Kansas City at Indianapolis. Indy is a 6.5-point underdog.
Indy stinks. Kansas City's good. Next.
So
when
I was looking at this game earlier in the week when it first came out, it was at 7, and I was kind of interested there in Indy just as like they're down 14 and then score at the end and make it close. But 6.5, I'll take Kansas City. Although I do expect Indy's got to show something here, right? Unless Matt Ryan's totally cooked.
So
it's now or never.
My theory is so far I would have been better just flipping my games. I had 8 wins last week, so technically it was in a wash. But
you're 50-50, yeah.
Yeah, I would have taken the Chiefs, so I'm going to go Colts.
It could be the right side, honestly. Like Indy's in desperation mode. I don't know that they win that game, but that could be a 3-point game.
Yeah.
Or a 4 or 5 or 6, and you're good. Next up, the big one for us Bills fans, Buffalo at Miami. Miami +6. That line's been going up.
I think the Bills win, but it's the NFL, and I don't think you just continuously blow people out. Even though the last however many games it is now, the Bills have won by double digits.
They tied an NFL record with the 1941 Bears.
I feel like they're due for a close game or a loss because they're on such a high. So I'm going to pick Miami.
I am going with Buffalo because if they win big. And I think they either lose outright or win big. I don't think it'll be close.
So my normal pick would be to take Miami, so I'm going to take Buffalo.
Going against your gut on every pick this week?
Yep.
Didn't you just... I thought you were thinking Pittsburgh would win, though. Do you want to switch that to Cleveland?
Oh, you're right. Yeah, please switch that to Cleveland. I do think Pittsburgh will win that.
Okay. You know, if this works and you win, you're going to have to stick with it now.
I know. That's just terrible.
Okay. 2 weeks is enough to make a change, huh?
Yep.
Next up, Baltimore at New England. New England +3.
I think Baltimore's by far the better team. I think Belichick and his defense might keep it close. But at the end of the day, Baltimore wins by a touchdown. So I'll take Baltimore.
Yeah, I'm going to take Baltimore. I think that loss to Miami, the way they blew that, is going to do one of two things. It's either going to send them on a downward spiral or they're going to regroup and stick it to the Patriots this week with a big win. I think that's what's going to happen, but I could see the Patriots pulling the upset here too.
I really see Baltimore just pummeling the Patriots, so give me the Patriots.
It sounds so wrong. This is what I really think is going to happen, but give me the other side. Okay. Cincinnati at the New York Jets. Jets are +5.
I don't know. Something going on with the Jets that, like, as a Bills fan, it's weird, but I almost want to, like, root for them because, like, it's Joe Flacco, like, just coming back from the dead, and they're kind of fun with their young receivers. But I think, speaking of desperate teams, I think Cincinnati is about as desperate as they come. So I think they'll find a way to win by a touchdown.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised this spread wasn't bigger than 5 just because Cincinnati was in the Super Bowl. They're desperate to get their season back on track. I would love to see the Jets win just to see, because there's talk that Zach Wilson's on track to be back week 4. So if they go out there and they beat the Bengals and go to 2-1, do they still take Flacco out? I'd love to see it, but I got to go Cincinnati here.
Yeah, I do think that Cincinnati recovers, and they've just looked so bad lately. I don't think the Jets have the D line to put the pressure on Burrow the way the past couple teams have. So I'm going to go Jets.
Sorry.
New Orleans at Carolina. Carolina's +2.5.
The talk down here is that Matt Rule needs to get fired. I don't think that team wants to play for him at all. I also just don't think they're very good. I think New Orleans gave Tampa Bay a pretty good battle. So I think New Orleans is a halfway decent team. So I think New Orleans wins the game.
Yeah, I got to take a team with the points here. I've taken all the favorites so far. Give me Carolina plus the 2.5. Jameis isn't right with that injuries. He's feeling it, regardless of what they're saying. I think it's hurting him.
I was going to say I'm not about to bet against Jameis, so I guess we're going Carolina.
Yes, you are betting against him.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good, doesn't feel right, but I could see it. That Carolina has a good defense. Kamaro's not going to be in. We'll see.
Game of the week here, guys. Houston at Chicago. Chicago -3.
I don't know. I'm just kind of this is a toss up. I think Houston might be a little bit better, so I'm going Houston.
Yeah, and this one I think it's a toss up, so I'll take the points. Give me Houston.
So, yeah, I'm going to go Houston.
Okay. Next up, we got the Las Vegas Raiders at the Tennessee Titans. Desperation mode setting in. +2 for the Titans. What are we thinking?
Well,
did we lose Anthony? Is he frozen?
He must be frozen because I've been waiting for a response from him, but he's just completely still.
Looks like he's deep in thought. All right, I'll kick it off. I think the Raiders are the better team. And you're only getting 2 points with Tennessee, but man, that's tough. I think I'll take Tennessee in this one, actually, with just because they are the plus. Give me any points I can get there because I think they're pretty equal.
I definitely think that the Raiders are going to win that game, and I mean 2 points is what it is. I don't think they're going to win by 1, so I would naturally take the Raiders, but that means I'm taking my team. Let's go Titans.
I kind of mentioned it with Baltimore too. That Raiders loss had to be demoralizing, right? To blow that lead, and then the way they lost in order, like they get the ball back, and then it's the fumble 6.
Yeah, that's brutal. And you know what else is demoralizing? Losing to the Bills by 35 points or 30.
It is
34 points.
So probably what's going to happen, whoever loses that game, like their season's pretty much done at 0-3.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's probably a better chance for the Titans to still make a season out of it if they don't
Because they're in
lose.
the
So
AFC
maybe
South.
because they're in the AFC South. So maybe the urgency is a little higher with the Raiders. So it almost makes me want to change my pick. But I think Tennessee's a well-coached team. I'm going to stick with Tennessee.
My man Anthony, you're back. What do you got? Who do you got for the? Oh well, you got to turn your mic on, bro. You can't just be sitting there talking without your mic.
Don't move to North Carolina. They got crap internet. But I'm gonna go with the
Number 2
Raiders.
place to go.
I'm gonna go with the Raiders. No need to explain anymore. Let's move on.
Philadelphia at Washington. Washington plus 6.5.
I think Philly's the better team, but it's an NFC East. I feel like these games are always somewhat close. So I'm going to take the points. I'm going to take Washington.
Yeah, it's a lot of points for a division game when Washington hasn't looked bad. They haven't looked great. They're 1-1, right? I'm going to take Washington with the points as well, even though I think Philly wins the game, but 6.5 is a lot of opportunities there for them to cover that 6.5.
Especially at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Give me Philly.
I think that it feels like a line that Vegas is begging the public to bet Philly on, and then Washington's going to go out there and cover it, and they're going to get all that money. It's like a trap line, just because Philly's the hot team right now in the NFC. Next up, we got Detroit at Minnesota. Minnesota minus 6.
I'm going to take... To me, that's a weird spread.
It's a very weird spread, isn't it? Minnesota just lost pretty big to the Eagles on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Detroit with the points.
And Detroit just won, and they keep scoring a bunch of points. Yeah, I'm Detroit plus a 6 all day.
Well, let's see what happens. Let's go Vikings. That line seems
You hated that one.
That seems so bad. Like, I need to go bet that right now.
Those last two feel like the weirdest lines of the week to me.
Yeah.
The Cleveland line feels weird, too. Just Brissett being a 4.5-point favorite just feels off.
Feels gross.
All right, let's move on. Jacksonville at the LA Chargers. Chargers are minus 7.
This will be the last week I do this. I'm picking Jacksonville to prove a point. But this one makes me nervous. I think they're the best team in the South. I don't think they're good enough to compete with the Chargers. But again, I got to prove a point, so I'm going Jacksonville.
Is it 100% Herbert plays? Like, I'm guessing yes, because otherwise they probably wouldn't have this line on the books, really. They'd be kind of waiting to put it out there. So I'm guessing he's in. In that case, I'm going to take the Chargers.
Oh, my gosh. Looks like I'm going with the Jaguars.
Yeah. All aboard. There's still room on the train, my man.
Choo-choo.
I don't like how many times I'm taking the favorite this week, though. This is definitely going to come back to bite me.
I feel like I've picked the underdog every time.
Yeah, Ryan might win this week. You got to start going against your gut more often, I think. It's going to be a full-blown disaster, or you're going to beat us by a lot. There's even no in between. All right, Green Bay at Tampa Bay.
I'll take Green Bay.
Tampa's minus 1.5.
I'll take Green Bay. I think Rodgers finally gets a win against Tampa, and I think they run the ball a lot. It's a low-scoring game.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with this one. I'm not touching it. I'm not betting on this game. There's no way. The only thing I would do, like I said, was maybe the under. I'd have to see what the line was. I want to say it was like 42, which I'd be shocked if it hits the over. But with this one, just give me the points because it's a toss-up, so I'll take Green Bay.
Give me the Bucks.
You wrote the wrong one down for me, Anthony. I'm taking Green Bay.
Oh, that's how he's been getting those wins. See that? Sneaking them.
All right. Next up, we got the LA Rams at the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals plus 3.5.
Cardinals have been bad. So I'm gonna take the Rams.
They just got that big. I know Ryan's big into momentum. They got that big win over the Raiders, though.
No. Give me the Rams.
3.5. Yeah, give me the Rams too. I don't think it's enough.
I am big into momentum.
Was that play enough to carry over into this game?
No, absolutely not.
It's a division game, right? Every team gets up for a division game. It shouldn't matter.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I'm big into momentum, but I think momentum is a very temporary thing. Like you have to keep momentum going. Yeah, it's a momentary thing. So, I don't think they have any momentum bringing from the last game going into this game, which means I somehow have to pick the Cardinals to cover. It's just so stupid, but I got to stick to my guns, man. I said I was going to do it. I got to do it.
This is another line that looks like Vegas wants you to bet the Rams because Arizona plus 3.5 feels low against the defending Super Bowl champs. So you might be on it there with that pick. They did just beat Atlanta by 4, so we'll see. Next up, Atlanta at Seattle. Seahawks -2.
Give me Atlanta. They played the Rams pretty well, and they played the Saints pretty well in week 1. So I think they're actually doing halfway decent, although they're not utilizing Kyle Pitts. So give me Atlanta.
Yeah, this will be the week that they figure out that they need to use Pitts to get their first win. Give me Atlanta. I have Seattle under 5.5 wins on this season, so this is one I really need them to lose.
I agree with you guys, but to stay true, give me the Seahawks.
All right. 2 more. We got San Francisco at Denver. Denver plus 1.5. There's a little
It's a good game.
G line change there.
That's one thing we didn't bring up in the week 2 takeaways, but I think although you don't want to wish an injury on anyone, I think this might turn out to be a good thing for San Francisco for this year. I think Jimmy G is better than Trey Lance would have been this year. That might not be the case going forward. So I'll take San Fran.
Do you guys think they would have been favorites if Trey Lance was playing this game?
No.
Yeah, I don't either. And I'm not sure that the switch is enough to change this line. Like Denver and San Francisco feel pretty similar to me. San Francisco did just lose to the Bears, didn't they? I know it wasn't Jimmy G playing, but give me Denver.
Gut says Denver. So 49ers.
And last up, Monday Night Football. It's going to be a fun one. Dallas at the Giants.
So
Giants looking to go 3-0. Giants -1.
I've been driving the Jaguars train. I'm still heavily on that, but I'm also making room for a Brian Dable train. So I think that the Giants win this game and they go 3-0.
I think this is a very bad 2-0 Giants team. Dallas played pretty well with Cooper Rush. Give me the +1 for sure. Dallas. They're the better team.
There's just no way that the Giants start this year 3-0, right?
That's part of my reasoning for picking Dallas as well.
Yeah.
I just can't see. There's no way.
There's no way. So give me the Giants. Let's go.
All right.
There's the picks for the week.
We'll get these posted on Twitter, and Twitter will be able to pick them as well. The Pittsburgh-Cleveland games are already on there. And then we'll recap this next week. Now,
early results, we're leaning towards Pittsburgh. I will throw that out there. So you got till tomorrow at about 7 to get your votes in.
All right, let's wrap this up with the listener question of the week.
All right, listener questions of the week. We're going to do 2 of them today. If you are 5 minutes late for work, or I'm sorry, you wake up and you have 5 minutes to leave your house to make it to work on time. Okay, what do you have to get done? What are those like 3 things that you're gonna get done in those 5 minutes? And we can just say like getting dressed is just an automatic. Like you have to get dressed. You can't go to work naked.
I'm gonna brush my teeth and make coffee.
I'm also going to brush my teeth and make coffee. Those will be my first 2 things. And while I'm waiting for my coffee to be made, I'll pack a lunch for myself because I usually skip breakfast during the week.
I think we're just a bunch of very mature young adults here, and that's exactly what I'm going to do too. We got to make sure our teeth are brushed, right? You don't leave home with your teeth not being brushed, especially going to work.
I'm also going to scream at my dogs to get outside really, really quick and then come back inside. That way they don't pee in the house.
Yeah, mine does that anyways. No matter how many times he's been outside, he's just so old now.
It's gonna be a hectic 5 minutes.
Yeah, it would be. It did happen to me once. I was supposed to open for a sports store that I was working at, and I get a call from my district manager, and she goes, and obviously I panicked. Like I answer my phone, I'm like, oh no, like why is she calling me? I look at the clock, I'm like, well, I know why. I'm like, hey. She goes, Ryan, why hasn't the store been opened yet? And I was like, yep, I'm definitely running late. I'll be there as soon as I can. And she goes, she just kept saying like, how did you sleep in? How did you forget? And I'm like, that's not really helping right now. I have to get ready and I have to get to the store. Like, it was so awkward. And I remember I brushed my teeth, grabbed something to eat, or not to eat, but brought it with me and peaced out. I don't even think I had coffee that day.
Right.
It's been a bad day.
Yeah, if you got less than 5 minutes, the coffee could be tough then. So
yeah, I was like getting changed as she was talking to me. Like I'm so screwed. I didn't lose my job though, but that company did go under. So after I left it.
All right, we got a second question.
Oh yeah, we have a second question. So second listener question is from my father-in-law, and he asks basically, what's your chili secret ingredient? So like the food chili.
I'll let you guys take this one. I do not cook very much.
Does not cook chili,
Okay.
especially.
I like my chili spicy, so I put a lot of spices in it. But the secret ingredient is to add something sweet to it. So put a little bit of honey in it or a little bit of maple syrup in it. That's my secret.
That is very. How much? So how much? You say a little. Like,
Not a lot, like a teaspoon.
Okay. So like very little. All right.
Yeah, it might not even make that much of a difference, but it's just like the finishing touch to it.
Right. So, do you guys, just out of curiosity, like, there's a big debate on whether chili is supposed to have beans in it. Did you know that? Like, I can't even fathom chili without beans. And this is a debate.
It's probably different types of chili, right? I mean, I always put beans in mine.
I put
Gotta have beans.
light red, dark red, black beans. I put all 3 of those in there. Like, when I think chili, I'm like, I got to get the red, the dark red, the light red, and the black beans to go in.
Might be a
I don't know if
little
I've ever
too many
had.
beans.
Yeah, I don't know if I've had the black beans in my.
Oh wait, I'm sorry.
I've
Not
never
black
had it
beans.
in my chili.
It's no, it is black beans. That's right. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to have your chili because I don't think I've ever had black beans in chili.
Bro, my chili is so good. And it's because it has beans in it. And I don't know about you guys, but I also put sour cream and like cheddar cheese or some sort of cheese in it too.
Yeah, definitely sounds.
After it's in my bowl, I don't like mix that into the
Thicken it up.
A little bit of Fritos.
yeah. And is that what you do, Fritos? I was gonna say I also use Ritz crackers. I don't know. Do you guys use Ritz with your chili?
Yeah. Anything. Yeah.
Yeah, any cracker,
Okay.
whatever I got in the cupboard.
So that's normal too.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't really have a secret ingredient, but I use beans. Darn it, beans are.
So lots of beans is your secret.
Oh, dude, yeah, you're farting for days after you eat my chili. You got gas, Just
And that's how
unending.
we're going to end it this week. Thanks for listening this week. We'll excited to watch week 3 of the football and recap that with you guys next week. On Twitter, we are at UltraflexFP. I'm at Ultraflex Sutton. Rob is at Ultraflex Rob. And Ryan is at Ultraflex Ryan. Thanks again for listening. Go Bills. Big matchup this week. And we will be here next week to recap it.
Let's go.
Go Bills.